2 years ago, I shot a video on covert contracts, and it's been far and away the most popular video on this channel. And I thought what I would do was take a little bit of a deeper dive into the concept of covert contracts and actually what I've learned in the 2 years since I recorded that video that I've learned about myself, covert contracts, overcoming my nice guy syndrome, and being able to be more of a man of integrity. So I thought I would share those things with you today. But before I go any further, please like and subscribe to this channel. Just do it now. It's one button, just push it. There you go. Excellent. Okay. So covert contracts. So what is a covert contract? Well, in the first video, I explained that a covert contract is a phrase that was coined by Dr. Robert Glover, the author of No More Mr. Nice Guy. And if you're not familiar with that work or the nice guy syndrome, what it is real quickly is a nice guy tends to give to get. A nice guy has a couple fundamental beliefs about how the world works. And one of the beliefs is that if I meet everyone else's needs without them asking, then the world will meet my needs without me asking. And this comes from a childhood wound where when we've had needs as children, they weren't met in a timely and generous way. Instead, what was happening was we would have a need and then we were told that our need wasn't important, we would feel hurt and rejected, and then we would be told that we're wrong. So there's this fear of rejection that happens when I express a need. And it's a fundamental thing that all nice guys deal with. And it's really an issue of codependency, an issue of needing continuous validation without asking for your needs to be met. All that does is it actually does the opposite of what you want, which is connection. It drives the other person further away. The concept of a nice guy is that he's not really a nice guy. He's fraudulently nice. In other words, he gives to get. Whereas the opposite of a nice guy is not a jerk. The opposite of a nice guy is an integrated man, a man who knows himself, loves himself, works on himself, trusts himself, gains insights to himself. And he does this oftentimes through the work of being with other men in brotherhood and in teaching and mentoring. And that's why it's really important for all of us to have mentors and teachers and coaches and programs that we're involved in, because it helps us stay in a higher place of higher, generous, loving masculinity. And if you're not familiar with the concepts of the masculine, feminine, and the tension that's created between the two, I'm going to talk about a little bit in this video about higher, lower masculine and feminine. I'll link a video that I did a few years ago on the polarity of the masculine and the feminine to give you an idea of what I'm talking about in this video. A covert contract is actually designed to drop you into lower feminine. And when we're in lower feminine, that's where we're needy, that's where we're passive aggressive, that's where we become butthurt and we withdraw our love, and we tend to create a lot of distrust of other people with us. And the antidote to that is to rise up into your higher masculine, which is assertiveness, asking for your needs to be met, being a source of love. Like I said, the video on the polarity of the masculine and feminine will explain that more if that's not something you're familiar with. But essentially, when I am in a covert contract, I am not being clear about my needs. And now the thing is that we all have needs and needs are legitimate. But when I'm needy, I'm not actually asking for a specific need to be met. I'm asking for validation. And like I've always said, there's nothing more unattractive to a woman than a man that's in his lower feminine. So when I'm in lower feminine state, I'm actually repulsing the feminine. And that's why when I'm in a state of neediness, which is essentially validate me, validate me, validate me, it turns her off. And we don't understand why. You know, like I'm doing all these great and wonderful things for you. You should want to appreciate me and tell me how wonderful I am and give me all the sex that I want. And we're approaching it from this neediness instead of a place of need. The other way that we drop down into that lower feminine energy is that we become passive aggressive. We show our anger in a way that, well, it's not really very nice, you know. It'll be things like sarcasm, cutting remarks, maybe even pointing out flaws in the other person. And it's a backdoor way of protecting yourself because when the person calls you out, you can just say, "Oh, I was joking," or "You're too sensitive." And passive aggressive behavior is something that the nice guy is highly skilled at. I was highly, highly skilled at passive aggressive anger, and it's something that I've worked on having to continue to work on because I recognize that it shows up in my life every now and again as well. But we want to understand that covert contracts make you look weak, covert contracts make you look needy, and covert contracts will break trust faster than anything else in your relationship because she will come to understand that you're not honest, she can't trust you, and if she can't trust you, then she's not going to respect you. And my belief is that one of the most valued needs of the masculine is the need to be respected. Now, respect is different than being validated. Oftentimes we'll confuse those two things. If someone respects me, then they validate me. Oh, you're such a wonderful guy. I love you, and you're wonderful and handsome, and all of those accolades. And respect is really a sense of self, of that I know in my heart I'm acting with integrity. And the more I do that, the more I bring that energy into everything in my world, we end up transmuting to other people that we're trustable. And when we transmute that we're trustable, we automatically gain the respect from other people because they know they can trust us. They know that if we say we're going to do something, we're going to follow through. They know if I give you my word, that my word is my bond. They know that I'm not going to give up too soon. I'm going to be loyal. They know that I'm going to act with courage. They know that I'm going to act with my values, my virtues. Here's a few things that I've learned about breaking free from covert contracts and the nice guy syndrome in the last couple of years. Now, the first one is basically echoes back to that original video, is to learn to ask directly for your needs to be met. In other words, instead of entering into a covert contract, you enter into an overt contract. And the overt contract is clear and direct. This is one where I oftentimes find myself, because I'm oftentimes in my head and not my heart, I will do something unconsciously, expecting that there will be some reward for that in return. And the way to break free from that is to get out of my head into my body and to create consciousness in myself that, oh, I have a need. I'm going to ask for that need to be met. And if I want anything in return, I'm going to make clear what it is that I want in return. My wife might ask me, "Hey, I need your help on something." And I'll say, "That's great. I would love to give you that help. And I'm actually going to need some help from you a little bit later on this thing over here. So I'll help you, and then I would love for you to help me." And that way I'm really clear on what it is that I want, and she's clear to me of what it is that she wants. There's no mind reading going on, and that creates a lot more connection as opposed to the resentments that happen as a result of expectations not being met. And that's kind of what a covert contract is. I have an expectation, and whenever I have an expectation, there's a resentment right underneath that waiting to be born. And when I have a resentment, what that does is it pulls me away from the relationship and the connection that I actually want. One that I've recently learned is to get comfortable with the tension of asking for your needs to be met. Now, this is the thing that I learned from Tim Ferriss. And it's an experiment that I'm working on right now in doing this. And I want to invite you to come along on this experiment as well. And the experiment is this: every time you go to a place, a store, like, and you're buying something like coffee or a snack, something like that, ask for a 10% discount. Just ask. And don't let them know that you're doing an experiment. It's not a social experiment. You just say, "I would like a coffee with cream, and I would also like to have a 10% discount on that." And just hold that tension and see what they say. Now, it's a scary thing, but it's just a little thing. Asking for 10% discount. And one of the things that Ferris says is that he was surprised and shocked at how often the time people will give him that. And sometimes it'll just be, they'll ask why or whatever, and they'll say, just because I would like that. That's something that I would love for you to do for me. And he's surprised at how many times actually people want to give you what you ask for. And the more you practice this, the more you get comfortable with the tension of asking for your needs to be met. And you get comfortable with the tension of when you're told no. Not personal, it's just simply no, I'm not going to be able to meet your need. And when I get comfortable with other people telling me no, then I don't have any attachment to whether or not I'm asking for my need to be met. There's no there's no butt hurt out of that. It's simply they said no, and then I can move on with my day. So practice that. Join me on this challenge. I'm going to start doing this. Every time I go and order a cup of coffee, I'm going to ask for a 10% discount and see what happens in that response. The third thing I want to encourage you to do that I think is really helpful for overcoming the nice guy syndrome and overcoming these covert contracts that we oftentimes enter into is practicing grounded presence. And that means getting out of here into here and being in your body and sitting with the moment. Just sitting and being okay. Everything's okay. When I'm coming from a place of anxiety, I'm creating anxiousness with the people around me. And when I'm creating anxiousness with the people around me, I'm going to feel their anxiety. They're going to feel my anxiety. And it's going to create this sense of disconnection that happens in that. As opposed to when I'm just able to show up and be present and be heart centered and ask for my needs to be met from a place of authenticity without any kind of attachment to the answer, then I stop doing these covert contracts. Instead, I just ask for my needs to be met. So practice these things, give it a shot. Let me know in the comments. What do you think about this? What would work for you? What wouldn't work for you? Would you be willing to enter into this test with me of asking for a 10% discount? Let me know in the comments. Before I go, I want to leave you with this thought that life is about growing into the best version of yourself. And growth doesn't happen without tension. And when we shy away from the tension and we take the easy way out, we're not growing, we're not expanding, we're not leaning into that tension. A covert contract keeps me safe because what it does is I don't have to ask for what my needs are. You're just supposed to know. And when you don't meet my needs, I don't have to take responsibility for that. Instead, I'll just blame you for not knowing what my needs are and not meeting my needs. And then I can be the victim. And then I can blame you without taking any responsibility for myself. And the path towards growth, the path towards becoming respected is having a sense of integrity in your own heart, a sense of calm, a sense of presence, and a sense of strength. And when we sit in that, one of the things that happens is we command respect. And command is different than demanding. Command is I'm in command of myself. And as a result of that, other people are attracted to that. My encouragement to you is to be a man of integrity, to be a man of courage, to be a man of honesty, and to go out and share your masculine presence with the world so that we can all be agents of change. We can all be agents of love. We can all be agents of integrity. And that's my wish for you, my brothers. Anyway, that's all I got for today. I'll see you next time. And thanks again so much for watching this video. Appreciate you.